Hello, welcome to Politics, Leadership and Governance. You're watching Masha Television Kenya. My name is Rita Kerin Tibet. A lot prepared for you on the state of the nation in terms of politics, leadership and governance. You can be part of this discussion. Engage with us. Our studio number is down there, 0746999841. Our social media handles, Facebook and YouTube, Masha TV Kenya, Instagram and Twitter at Masha Television Kenya. Feel free to talk to us, give us your feedback and what you think of the show. Here in studio, I have Mr. Bushebi Jr., political and leadership expert. Welcome, and how are you?
Good. Enjoying life and thanking God for the blessings that He has given me. Yes, and sharing those blessings.
All right. Well, welcome to the Politics, Leadership and Governance show.
Sante.
And I like us to talk about the state of the nation at the moment. And I can say we'll start with the political side of it. We've seen Rigathi Gachagua on Thursday morning. He addressed the international community and specifically on the recent developments in the government, the reshuffling. We've seen the president bringing in the political bigwigs rather than experts, as it is anticipated or it is believed that he is trying to build a base ahead of 2027 elections. And he says that the mountain is gone forever. Even if you bring in Kikuyus into your government, the mountain is gone. Do you agree with him?
Well, it's open secret that the mountain is agitated over what President William Ruto has been doing, or rather the way he has been treating a number of leaders from the mountain. And this agitation has come about or has been catalyzed by the impeachment of the former president, deputy president Rigathi Gachagua, who many thought that he would disappear from the political scene, only for him to re-emerge, rebrand, and become the biggest critic of President William Ruto, eventually becoming the Mount Kenya kingpin, and eventually consolidating the mountain and completely ridding the mountain of President William Ruto. And so his sentiments, I do believe, are backed up by the events that have been taking place in the mountain. So many people from the mountain who overwhelmingly voted for President William Ruto under UDA party currently do not attribute or do not support his re-election. When you listen to many of them, they say they are not going to vote for President William Ruto. And this can also be witnessed by the mere fact that some UDA leaders who are pro-Ruto have come out to say we are going to isolate the mountain. So it means it has gotten to their skins, and it has come to the full realization of some of the UDA leaders or the UDA leaders that the mountain is gone. And so the only way out is to isolate the mountain. And that is a bit problematic, looking at what the reactions that came out when those tribal statements started flying around. Even the people from the mountain who are still in UDA have come out to say that is unacceptable. We cannot be talking about tribal politics where you want to isolate one community against Kenyans. And so when Rigathi Gachagua is talking about the mountain being taken away from President William Ruto or turning against President William Ruto, I think that is the backdrop of his argument on the whole issue. And we can all testify that a good number of supporters from the mountain, at the same time many of them scattered all over the country and the world, some of whom Rigathi Gachagua was addressing on Thursday morning, the people from diaspora, it is true that the mountain is gone. I don't see I don't see the trick. Perhaps maybe by God's hand, the mountain can say, we forgive Ruto and now we want to support him. But as we are talking right now, I don't see any way out for President William Ruto to regain support of the mountain. Yeah.
Even if he elected many leaders from that region.
It doesn't matter if he appoints whoever it is. He can put a list of all those names, like the way Gachagua was saying, Wanjiru, Kariuki, put all those names as appointees, you know. But at the end of the day, the ground is with Gachagua. That is just open secret. If we have to argue this matter from the information from the ground, the mountain is gone, and I think we've come to a point where, as a country, we should stop talking about the mountain, because now it's becoming tribal. Yeah, because anytime you mention the mountain, people go tribal. They don't want to look at the community living in the central region, knowing that we have the Luyas there, we have the Luos, we have the Kikuyus, we have all these people that they don't, political class, some of the leaders, they don't see it that way.
Yeah.
They have gone tribal. Anytime you mention the mountain, we know the majority are Kikuyus and Embus and all those, but we have to have our politics structured in a manner that we look at the community that lives in the mountain and the relatives and the friends that they have perhaps maybe elsewhere. But you will not just find the Kikuyus alone in the mountain. You have the Luyas there, you have the Pokomo, you have the Luos there, you have so it is Kenyans who have formed a community there in the mountain. So there's a danger, there's a thin line, and this should be called out, that it should not disintegrate into some form of tribal politics, where leaders just come out and say the mountain is Kikuyus, or the mountain is some have even started saying now they are looking for another mountain, Mount Elgon. I don't know which other mountain they are looking for in Nyanza. I don't know which other. Now they are all looking for mountains to fight a mountain. You know, I think we should be careful in this country not to disintegrate to a level where we now talk of tribal politics. And some of these people who are doing this are actually in UDA, and they are President William Ruto supporters, like crazy supporters. And nobody has called them to order. Where is NCIC, or what is the name of that body that usually comes out after people have died? They come to give statements and say, oh, you know, let's have peace, cohesion. But you're seeing the red flags right now.
Yeah.
Why have they not summoned some of these leaders, including Gachagua himself? Because the other team is saying Gachagua is tribal. Gachagua is saying these other guys are tribal. Is it possible to summon all these political leaders who are raising the tribal flag and have them charged in court? Is it possible? Because now we are not talking about the mountain again. We are talking about tribes, which is dangerous, which is extremely dangerous. Just because a community in a certain region, living in a certain region, has said we are not going to support the president in 2027, it should not be reduced to a tribe. It shouldn't be reduced to a tribe. Kikuyus are not just in the mountain or central region. Kikuyus are all over. And it's not just Kikuyus alone who are in the mountain. You have other Kenyans from other tribal backgrounds also there. When you raise the tribal flag, what do you want? Do you want bloodshed? You can't lead, you can't thrive unless you drink the blood of Kenyans. Is that what you're saying? That blood must be shed for you to become powerful? That is wrong. And so this whole discussion of the mountain is gone, we are going to isolate the mountain, let's consolidate Western, consolidate I don't know, Nyanza, and then do away with the mountain. And then Gachagua on this side is saying, I'm consolidating the mountain, we are not going to support, I'll give the mountain. I think this thing is now being and by the way, we have 2 years to go.
Yes.
And the message is being coined. Mm-hmm. If you're smart, if you're wise in this country, you'd see that already there's a systematic dissemination of this tribal message that is being tested. Slowly by slowly, the subconscious minds of Kenyans will embrace this tribal, kind of dangerous politics. Mm-hmm. Because you could see leaders throwing in the tribal card all the time, slowly by slowly, and nothing is happening. With time, people will think it's normal. But then, we will cross the red line. We will cross the red line. What are we going to do with this country? Mm-hmm. Who are you going to lead if it's bloodshed that you're paying for? So we should, I think right now we should start talking about Kenyans. Mm-hmm. Gachagua should start talking about Kenyans are not going to vote for William Ruto, rather than the mountain is not going to vote for William Ruto, because that is setting up the ground for this other team to call him tribal. And at the same time, this other team is raising the tribal card, saying we are going to isolate that tribe. Mm-hmm. And then what? As you say you're going to isolate them, do you know how many of your relatives, how many of your people from your tribe are in that region? Mm-hmm. Talk of Nairobi. Nairobi mebeba kila mtu. Nairobi mebeba kila tribe. Sasa wewe ukianza kusema mambo ya tribes, we are going to isolate. How do you want Nairobi to be in 2027? Yet these people have been living peacefully. Kenyans are never tribal. Kenyans, it is the politicians. I saw Dan Wanyama. This is Webuye West or Webuye, I don't know. West. Why was he talking like that as a leader? Why is he talking like that? Why are you saying that? Surely, as a leader, why would you say that? You see, it all started with abuses. Akina Farah Maalim started abusing people, just saying anything that they wanted. Mm-hmm. But now it has gotten to a point where people have become bold. Political class is becoming bold enough to stand up and say, a certain tribe, we're going to isolate you. Mm-hmm. This is what happened in 2007. 42 against 1, or I don't know, 41 against 2. 42 against 1. 1,000 people died. In fact, more than 1,000 people died. 3,000 families were displaced. Up to this day as we are talking, they have not even been compensated. People lost their livelihoods. Yet you have a leader like Dan Wanyama just standing up and saying, we are going to do that again. We are going to do that again. And what is worse? We have bodies in this country that are mandated to look at such statements and such leaders. They are quiet. You will shamelessly see them coming out after people have died to say, we are here, as Kenyans. What are you doing? Get out of the office. You don't know what you're doing. Hawatu wangekuwa summoned. Summoned. The same way they impeached Gachagua because they claimed he was tribal. Why are these leaders still roaming? Yet they are saying all kinds of things that they want to say. Why? That is why this conversation of the mountain is gone, the Rift Valley is gone, Western is ours, Nyanza is ours, sijui nini. I think this conversation is disintegrating into a tribal kind of politics, which is not good for this country. Mm-hmm. It is not good for this country. And I want to congratulate the Gen Zs, by the way. Those guys don't hawatambui vitu ya tribe. They don't. And so as much as there's a systematic push to have a tribal kind of politics for 2027, you don't also ignore the Gen Z constituency, because they don't recognize that thing called tribe. Mm-hmm. They are one. And I think maybe the salvation will come through the Gen Zs, because again, they are the determining factor in 2027. They are going to determine who will be the next president of this republic, unless Akibaki is pulled like 2007.
Right, we'll wait and see. We hope that that will not happen come 2027.
They talked about it.
Yeah, they did talk about
it. Is it Sudi or whoever? They said kama kura itaja wataongeza. So that's what Kibaki did in 2007. Walinyang'anya Raila tu dini ushindi live. He was sworn in at night. And I want to believe it's because they were scared. Walikuwa wameambiwa 42 against 1 and they said, hey, kama namna hii we are going. And that's how William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta walijikuta Hague. Do we want a repeat of this? Ilikuwa tu ujinga, ilikuwa tu upumbavu, ilikuwa hii upuzi tu yenye wanasiasa wako wanafanya hii matamshi tu wanatoa. You don't need a gun, just mdomo yako hii vitu yenye unaongea yenye haina maana. Hii upuzi tu yenye wako wanaongea saa hii ya tribe, sijui we are isolating that, we are isolating. How are you saying that? And yet the person seated next to, I was watching that thing of in Cheptais where Dan Wanyama was talking. How do you say that? And the person seated next to you is a Kikuyu. You're in the same party with this person, is a Kikuyu, and you're saying you're going to isolate their tribe. What do you expect this person to feel?
The deputy president of the Kenya Kwanza government
comes from Central, and you're saying we're going to isolate them. Are you mad? As in, what is wrong with this political class? Some of these politicians, ni nini wanakulaga? Ni bangi wanavutaga ndo waanze kuongea ama ni nini? Do you want to destroy this country? We should get to a level to grow. Vile tulikuwa tunaendelea tu. Power is transferred peacefully to the next person. Tuendelee bana. Kama unashindwa kura, wenda tu home. Inauma, si ati hayumi, inauma, but wenda home. Kama wananchi wamekukataa, wewe tembea, si wamekukataa. Kama wataumia, si yao wataumia. Beba mikono nawa namna hii, sema okay, mmenikataa, let me go. Don't force yourself on the people. Don't use these statements to try and scare people. It doesn't work. Do you know what will happen? Bloodshed.
And of course, that is not what Kenyans want. Well,
but we must call it out.
Yes, we must call it out, and we hope that the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, should also summon some of the leaders who are making statements.
No, they would rather summon me talking about these things, but they will not summon someone like Dan Wanyama. They will not summon people like Nasudi. They will not summon these people who are just saying whatever they want to say, knowing very well that's a dangerous ground to go. But they will come for me because I pointed out this thing. You will see them summoning me. Paka unashangaa sasa kati yangu mimi na hao ni nani amefanya nani anafaa kukuwa summoned? Surely who? They would rather go for someone like me, but they won't go for what do they fear?
Well, let's have a look at what Rigathi Gachagua had to say on Thursday morning. He said a lot of things in relation to the 2027 polls and the current political state of the country. Listening.
And we want to say that trying to intimidate me and disrupt my meetings so that I don't go for meetings will not work. Everybody in this country knows I'm not a coward. I am not easily intimidated. We'll continue going for our meetings, and we want to ask our people to continue offering security to our meetings wherever we go, so that those who are being sent to attack us. Appointing CSS from Mount Kenya is a good thing, there's no problem. But if the intention is to win the Mount Kenya back, it's an exercise in futility. I did tell President William Ruto along the way that the people of Mount Kenya hate deception and betrayal. And I told him that the people of Mount Kenya hate betrayal, and he himself is a beneficiary of the people's distaste for betrayal. When the people of Mount Kenya perceived like he was betrayed by President Uhuru Kenyatta, they decided to support him to show their distaste for betrayal. And I did tell him many times that if he betrays the people of the Mount Kenya region, they'll never forgive him. And I told him betrayal in Mount Kenya region is unacceptable, is unforgivable, is an abomination, it is a taboo. And once it has occurred, there is no remedy. Even if he appoints the whole cabinet from Mount Kenya, nothing will change. Even if he was able to revive Dedan Kimathi, Mwai Kibaki, Jomo Kenyatta, and appoint them to his cabinet, nothing will change in the Mount Kenya region. Even if he was to revive Gekuyu and Mumbi and the 9 daughters, make Gekuyu his deputy president, make Mumbi his prime cabinet secretary, make the 9 daughters, Wachera, Waithera, Wanjiru, Wambui, and all as cabinet secretaries, nothing would change. the mountain is gone and gone forever, because the mountain hates betrayal and hates deception. Those are two things that the people of the mountain hate. So no amount of appointing anybody in this region will change anything. The people are through with President William Ruto because he betrayed the region and he deceived the region. And there is no remedy. That is a matter, that is a closed chapter. And I start to be corrected, and in the fullness of time, he'll come to know. And that is why you find he's getting very irritated that when he sends condolence messages in a funeral, people refuse to listen to them because they are through with him. And you know, in our community, a funeral is a very solemn moment.
All right, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua there. Let's still talk about 2027 polls, Mr. Bushebi. Looking ahead to the 2027, what specific political strategies or shifts will Rigathi Gachagua need to adopt to maintain or increase his influence in the mountain?
He doesn't need to increase anything in the mountain. Mm-hmm. He's already increased. Regarding Gachagua's strategy is simple. It is the same strategy that President William Ruto used on Uhuru Kenyatta. Wamunyoro residence that belongs to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is now like now the previous current residence of the then Deputy President, current President William Ruto. It is busier than State House. It is busier than Karen, where Deputy President Kithure Kindiki lives right now. He's having meeting almost 5-10 groups even in a day, and he's posting, and he's using the same script that President William Ruto used on Uhuru Kenyatta. He has crossed the borders. He's not just meeting people from the mountain. He's meeting people from Kisii. The other day he had MCAs from Kisii. He's going all the way. The next time you'll see he's meeting people from Mombasa, from Kakamega, and you could see the script. It is a similar script that President William Ruto used on Uhuru Kenyatta. What Gachagua is doing is he's forming government. He's forming his own government in waiting. And that is the strategy that Ruto used. He formed the government long time ago. For 10 years, he was just doing it. Meeting these MCAs, making sure nominations go, favor his allies and stuff like that. That's what Gachagua is doing. He's unveiling his political party. He doesn't need to run for anything. Even if they stop him from running and the courts uphold everything, Gachagua will still be powerful. And trust you me, if elections were to be done today, there is no single person from UDA who will go back or win back their seats. They will all vote for anybody that Gachagua says vote for. And that is the truth of the matter. And so Gachagua knows that very well. He has consolidated. Remember at some point I said here that I don't know how Gachagua is going to, or what the outcome of his criticism of William Ruto in the mountain is going to achieve. And I also said, I don't know if he's going to maintain the anti-Ruto narrative in the mountain. And so he's doing that exactly. And I also said that Gachagua needed to shield both the elected and unelected leaders in the mountain. I remember saying that very well. And he has gone ahead to do exactly that. The reason why he's meeting these MCAs, the upcoming political leaders and stuff, and guys who are eyeing these seats in 2027, is because he's trying to shield them from President William Ruto. He knows the game of... Gachagua knows how President William Ruto became president. He knows he has all the secrets. He knows Ruto. And so he's playing his card. Right now, as we're talking, there's no narrative that has come from the UDA side that has stuck on Gachagua. They have tried to hook him as the leader of Gen Zs. It hasn't worked. They have tried to call him a tribalist. It hasn't worked. They have tried to put all kinds of things, the coup, the what, all those narratives, they come and go. Gachagua is still there. Now there is this Mungiki guy, what is his name? Maina Njenga, who is busy disrupting and trying to fight Gachagua in the mountain. It is open secret. But will it work? Gachagua is focused on forming the government. And that is why he came out and said, we will be in the next government. We will form the next government. That is what he's doing. If you're not careful, Gachagua is going to be in government. Because he's forming government. He's deciding who the MCAs are going to be in Central, all the way from the grassroots. The MCAs, the women rep, MPs, and he's meeting all this and he's forming his own government. And so that is what he's doing. So if you're going to ask me, Gachagua is a dangerous person to ignore. Ruto should not ignore Gachagua. Unless the other theory that I'm still developing, where just before 2027, there's going to be a handshake between Ruto and Gachagua. I don't know, but this is Kenya. It is possible. The two can shake hands. Because kucontrol akili ya watu ni rahisi. Lakini kuconsolidate, let's say, turning the mountain into a constituency, a voting block, ndio ngumu. Lakini once you have consolidated the way Gachagua has done, he can now go and say, hey, sasa tuongee, tuko kwa meza. Hizi ni kura karibu milioni 5-6 niko nazo. Ulikuwa unasemaje? And if the president knows that this is the only way to be re-elected, unafikiria kutakuwa na handshake? Itakuwa tu.
Yeah.
But that is far-fetched, but it can happen. So Gachagua has already set himself up for a battle for 2027 with President William Ruto. And this can go two ways. Either you beat them or you join them.
Well, recently we've seen the president, you've said that the ruling government has tried to stick some narratives against Rigathi Gachagua, but it has not worked. We've seen recently the president has been talking about the shareholding issues, and he has been saying during the Western Development Tour, he has been saying that we don't want leaders who, the shareholding narrative in the country, we don't want leaders who are spreading the shareholding narratives in the country, saying that some regions are better than others. Does this mean that Rigathi Gachagua has been impactful, that the president is now talking about him? And how is this going to influence?
Because this man has shaken the government. Kama Gen Zs wanatuma email paka Prime Cabinet Secretary anakuja kusema bwana, we are having sleepless nights. If the Gen Zs can do, what about Gachagua? Gachagua has gotten to the skins. I mean, they know. The president receives intelligence every day. He consumes intelligence every day. And top level intelligence. Ile kitu ya anajua, mimi na wewe hatujui. Sisi tunafanya, I'm doing commentatorship, I'm analyzing this siasa basing on what I see. But there is information that the president has. Number one, why is it that Kimani Ichung'wah can never go to the mountain, Central, to say the things that he say? Kimani Ichung'wah, we know him, he's a stubborn guy and proud guy. Why hasn't he gone to the mountain? Aite Gachagua tribalist, atukane Gachagua vile huwa. Why is he doing it in Western and Nyanza? And that is out of inner circle ya the president. Why is it that when they want to talk about Gachagua, they have to run away from Nairobi and go and talk about Gachagua in Western? Waende Bungoma, waende Luo Nyanza. Why? If really Gachagua wasn't that powerful, mbona watoroke Nairobi, waache huko kila kitu, waende kutukania Gachagua huko kwingine? It means the man is powerful. He has gotten to their skins. He's controlling the ground. And that is why they need a new strategy. Don't be shocked to find that maybe even they will never step foot in Central. until past 2027. Don't be shocked. Because the president consumes intelligence. Why go there and then cause chaos alafu muaibishe president? Maybe heckled or something like that. Why? We have seen people heckling governors and MPs and women reps during the tour of President William Ruto in Western Kenya. Huyu wa Vihiga anaitwa Otichilo. Otichilo alinyamazisha mpaka akasema mmekataa basi na akapea Ruto microphone. That is in front of the president. And people heckle a whole governor. Do you know that can happen to the president himself in the mountain? Na unajua ni aibu kubwa sana. Dunia mzima inaona yani huyu president wa Kenya. So he cannot risk to do those things. Kimani Ichung'wah anajua. They all know. So Gachagua has become impactful. That impeachment I think has ripple negative effects on the government. Yeah, ni kubaya naye kisiasa ni kubaya. They know it that mambo imeharibika. And so they need a strategy. And that strategy, I know they have a strategy. And they are testing a number of strategies. Even this tribal thing is a test. They want to see if it can work. I'm telling you, mwanasiasa akitaka kura, anaweza fanya chochote. Anaweza sema chochote. Are there checks and balances on them? Are there checks and balances on what they say and what they do and what they are planning? There is no difference between Ruto and Gachagua. They are politicians, and politicians are cousins. Their thought system is the same. What Gachagua is doing now is what Ruto did then against Uhuru. And so you cannot fool yourself to think that Gachagua is different from Ruto. No. Nani alikuwa anaamka saa 11 saa 10 ya usiku kwenda kuvuruga watu wa ODM atu wanaenda maandamano? Sijui Gachagua huyu. Nani waliiba makondo ya Uhuru? Ruto alikuwa kwa inchi kweli? Si alikuwa ameenda ng'ambo? Nani walivuruga hii inchi paka watu wakasema Ruto arudi take control of the country? Si Gachagua was in control. So what changed? Where's the Damascus moment that changed the heart and mind of Gachagua? There's no difference. These politicians are the same. And so wanajuana tu, wanajua Gachagua anajua strategy ya Ruto, Ruto anajua strategy ya Gachagua. And don't be politicians are cousins. I'm saying this thing. Maybe I'll be proved right maybe in future. These two individuals, Ruto and Gachagua, wanaweza kuwa walikuwa na script. Sikudanganyi. I said this even from way before wakati rumors za impeachment zilikuja. What is the easiest way to consolidate the mountain? What is the easiest way? Sympathy. Sympathy. The easiest way to consolidate the mountain na kuiweka as a block ni sympathy. It could be a script. Piga, wacha tukupige, tukuumize bwana, tukutese ulie. Wewe consolidate mountain. Huyu Raila simtrust. Anaweza shindwa hii AU. Na Nyanza ikaniruka na Western ikaniruka. Because I can assure you, William Ruto knows very well, hakuna kura Mudavadi anaweza mpa Western. He knows that Wetangula can only give him votes in Bungoma. Lakini hizi areas zingine Western up to Nyanza, hizo anajua vizuri sana ni Raila na control. Na anajua Raila akimuruka hii makura ya Weta peke yake haiwezi mrudisha State House. Haiwezi mrudisha State. Si mjinga, anajua. You cannot underestimate Ruto. What if Gachagua in the end after consolidating the mountain they come and sit down and say sasa tukubaliane tuandikishane, last time tulikuja bila party, this time tumekuja na party, itakuwa namna hii. Why is Gachagua so sure that they are going to form government in 2027? Why is he so sure? What does he know that we don't know? Why is the president so sure he's going to win re-election? Why are these two individuals so sure about them being in government in 2027? Kuna maswali ingine, they look far-fetched, but I'm telling you, kutakuwa na miujiza hapo mbele yenye inashinda earthquake.
Talking about earthquake, reminded me of Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi during the President William Ruto's development tour in Western region, while in Kakamega County, Musalia Mudavadi slammed Gachagua and even said that you cannot even vie for Mzee wa Mitaa seat because you are impeached. So you better heal and go home. Going with the words of Prime Cabinet Secretaries, what strategy can Rigathi Gachagua use? Maybe probably because you all know if you're impeached, according to the Constitution, you're not supposed to vie for any elective seat. If the court upholds the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, what strategy can Gachagua use maybe to impact the 2027 polls and maybe have credibility even if he becomes a kingmaker in 2027?
All he needs to do, and already the strategy is out there. Form a political party, become the political leader. Doesn't mean you cannot become the political leader. He'll be the political party leader of his own party. And his party is going to sweep the mountain. And perhaps maybe beyond the mountain. He's going to have a bargaining power. If you want the votes from the mountain, you have to go through Gachagua. And what if Raila Odinga decides, Ruto mambo yako staki? Where will Ruto go? So either way, it doesn't add value. It doesn't add value. Gachagua knows he cannot vie for presidency. Anajua akienda hiyo direction kidogo anaweza poteza. But they are going to support someone. The mountain is going to support someone. And it is going to be through Rigathi Gachagua. I'm telling you. Because Uhuru Kenyatta right now alimess. Ruto alimcheza. Because Ruto came to say hi and came out and gave out a totally different press report. You know? And then Uhuru, seeing the danger, came out and said something the total opposite of what Ruto said. If you read the two statements after meeting between Ruto and Uhuru, they were saying totally different things. So Ruto alicheza unye. Na unye hapo ndio image ilikufia hapo. Association na Ruto. Unye watu walimkataa. Sasa juzi ndiye amejaribu kujiosha. Ati anakuja kuambia watu ati mpiganie haki yenu na sijui nini, anajaribu kujiosha. But it is gone. It is gone. Sasa Uhuru hawezi waambia anything because number one, they'll just remind him, bwana, wewe uliside na Ruto. So we are not going to listen to you. So right now the mountain is listening to Gachagua. Gachagua is going to be a political party leader of his own political party. We don't know. I'll say Marco na reveal. We have around 5 or 7 days atakuwa na reveal that party. So that simply means MCAs, women reps, MPs, na governors, and he's going to sweep all that. If you want to become one, you have to go through Gachagua. If you want to be the president and you want the votes, you have to speak to Gachagua. He has the bargaining power. Whether the court upholds or doesn't uphold, he has the bargaining power. That is why he's so sure when he says we are going to be in government. He's so sure. You know, strategy, it is open. It is just playing in the open. And there's going to be a mass exodus from UDA party. I'm telling you, there's going to be a mass exodus. UDA party, there's going to be mass exodus. Mass. Especially from the people who are mountain. Many of them are going to abandon President William Ruto. That is why bado Ruto ana way. His way. And I'm telling you, hii ni siasa. Usiweke kwa roho. Hii ni siasa. Gachagua and Ruto might work together. Hii ni siasa. Usiweke kwa roho, msiweke feelings sana. Things can change. I remember saying this about Ruto and Raila. Watu wa UDA wakasema itawezekana. Hata Gachagua akakuja akasema ameweka mitego. What happened? I'm telling you, ni siasa. Don't be shocked to see Ruto and Gachagua working together for 2027. Don't be shocked. Because right now, with or without the court case going for or against Gachagua, he has the bargaining power. What Mudavadi is talking about is baseless. Because number one, Mudavadi mwenyewe hana kura. Mudavadi hana kura. Number two, Mudavadi aliuza chama. Hata watu wenye walikuwa kwa chama walishangaa nini inaendelea. Up to now they don't even know where to go. You've seen them in press conferences saying sasa huyu mtu aliuza chama. That only brings out the real image of Mudavadi. That he was given some money as his supporters claim. Na yeye akaweka kwa bank na akauza chama. Wanachama hata wajui nini inaendelea. They say there was no consultation. Sasa huyo ni kiongozi wa aina gani? Wewe unauzaje ANC? Wewe unagawa aje ANC? Aje? Is it that uongozi ilimshinda hii chama ama ni nini? How do you let such powerful people like kina Malala go? People sijui like kina nani wanaenda, unawaachaje tu wanaenda namna hiyo? There could only be one reason. Chapa. Hakuna kitu ingine, and people see it. Wanaiona na macho mawili. Wanaona huyu amekula peke yake, ameacha wanachama wamepotea, ANC haiko, mara haijamaji, ANC bado iko alive, mara imemaji, mara you don't even understand what is Mudavadi doing. A leader needs to have a firm foundation and values. Hapana unaruka hapa leo, kesho unaruka huku, kesho kuto umeuza chama, kidogo unasema sijauza, na tumemaji, hatujamaji. Sasa what exactly where are we going? Barabara ni gani? Wanachama wanamuuliza, sasa umeamuka tu katangaza umemaji. Sasa after here tunaenda wapi? Where do we go? Tujisajili kwa UDA? Unasema UDA na ANC bado hazijavunja, ni merging. What is merging? So it's becoming one.
Yeah.
So what is the term that we should go with? You see, that shows that I've always said Mudavadi is a technocrat. Mudavadi is somebody in office, he performs so well. In politics, Ambe Mudavadi wacha. Raila alimchapa 10-0 kwa huko Vihiga. Limuosha mbaya sana. So you cannot depend on Mudavadi when it comes to politics. Yeah, ameelektiwa 2022. Did somebody elect him?
No.
Was his name on the ballot?
Nope, he was appointed.
Whose name was in the ballot in 2022 as a deputy president? Rigathi Gachagua. So mtu alileta Rigathi Gachagua alileta kura ngapi Mountain? Mudavadi alileta ngapi? So who is supposed to really castigate the other? Is it Mudavadi or Gachagua? So Mudavadi ana moral authority ya ku even criticize Mudavadi Gachagua.
Yeah.
Hana hiyo moral authority. Una vote, ulileta kura ngapi? Hakuna. Your name was not in the ballot. You didn't win any election. Sasa utaongea jiji ya mtu mwenye anakura, mtu mwenye akanajipanga 2027, mtu mwenye jina yake ilikuwa kwa ballot. What are you going to say? The only thing that Mudavadi brought to William Ruto is image, national outlook. That is all. No votes. So image haishindi kura. Image haishindi kura. Na see, I want to put a disclaimer. Kura zote zilitoka Mountain, si Gachagua alileta. Ruto had already made inroads in the Mountain. Yeah. And that is why I'm insisting. Just because Gachagua is also dancing alone in the political arena, asidhani ameweza Ruto. Ruto is a shrewd politician, smart, calculative. What he's doing, I think, and I want to believe, is 50 years from now. Ruto amejipanga 50 years from now. And so ukipiga hesabu ya kupigana na Ruto, piga hesabu yako beyond 50 years. Sikudanganyi, if you're forming a political party and you want to form government, just know that President William Ruto has enough strategies to sustain leadership for the next 50 years. He has enough strategies. That is why anacheka, anasema, hey, amutamuweza. And people joke. No, I cannot take Ruto for granted. All
right, let's listen to Musalia Mudavadi and what he said during the in Kakamega County concerning Rigathi Gachagua. Listening.
Sheria inasema hivi: kama wewe umekuwa impeached hauwezi kushika kazi ya umma. You cannot have public office. Tunaelewana? Hata nyumba 10 hautapata. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka kama watu wa eneo hii mchukue sheria, muitafakari, muangalie vizuri, kwa sababu hatutaki kupotoshwa na mtu ambaye anatembea na wala hataweza kuwa na nafasi ya kuwa na public office. Let us not waste our time. Let us move forward. Kwa hivyo, if somebody was mourning, he has finished the mourning. The mourning period is over. Kenya must move on. Kenya is not there to listen to you mourning every other day. We must move on.
Don't be fooled to follow Rigathi Gachagua because he's not going anywhere. Those are the words of Musalia Mudavadi. What is your comment on that?
He has never gone anywhere. They wanted him to disappear. The fact that developmental tour can turn into a platform to address Gachagua shows you that Gachagua has become something else. Yeah. Kiona mzazi anakuambia usifuate ule rafiki sababu ni mbaya. Najua huyo rafiki ako na power to influence you. Otherwise, kama mzazi anajua rafiki hana power, hawezi ongea kitu. The fact that the whole government is talking about Gachagua tells you that there was even a meeting that was called and we have to deal with this. Ama hii kitu itatuzamisha. Gachagua is powerful. That's the bottom line. And that there's absolutely nothing Mudavadi can do. The only thing that can be done is by President William Ruto himself. And there are two options. One is a strategy he has embraced with Raila Odinga to defeat Gachagua. Two, if that doesn't work, a handshake between him and Rigathi Gachagua. Those are the only two options.
Well, the first strategy to bring in Raila Odinga to ensure that he wins the African Union Commission job. Yeah. And let's now talk about that. The AUC race, we know that it is in few days to come. Raila Odinga will be
the AU chairperson.
Nope, he'll be running for that seat officially. The elections will be held. And Djibouti's foreign minister has publicly denied withdrawing from the African Union Commission race. How significantly does this clarification impact the overall dynamics of the election? Because, there were speculations that people are even starting to congratulate Raila Odinga.
He's not familiar with Kenyan politics. And so he's just being taught politics the Kenyan way. Yeah. Because it's a strategy. Let's start a narrative. But this guy has withdrawn. So by the time he finishes struggling with that narrative, the elections will be. That's the strategy. That's number one. The best way to explain that is, number one, it's a strategy. And that's the Kenyan way of doing things. Yeah. Somebody will just wake up and say, President William Ruto will not run for 2027 election. And then the president will come out and say, Nana alikuambia sita. And then as the president is busy fighting with that narrative, this other person is busy campaigning and winning the seat. So it's a narrative that can be started by anybody. And if the Djibouti man is not familiar with Kenyan politics, atayumba na hiyo narrative paka akiona Raila akipita ka gari ya moshi, tamuacha hapo, electric train, tamuacha hapo. So he has to know, it is not supposed to be, fighting that narrative. Bila ametoa statement hivyo, focus on the race. Otherwise, uki waste time on the narrative and getting angry and saying, why are they saying this? What is wrong? They are laughing at you. Because as you're doing that, Raila is meeting this president, meeting that president. The other day was in Algeria. The other day anaenda huko. So uko busy. I'm not resigning. I'm still there. But the guy is campaigning and moving on. So it's a narrative. That's the politics Kenyan way. Number two, it could be true. There are rumors that the guy was offered money. Some 6 billion shillings. And, you know, before he could even have a hold of that money, somebody, whistleblower, hey, 6 billion Kenya's taxpayers money is being given away. And then, you know, and that's a criminal offense if it's true. Because that simply means that now either Kenya is supposed to be disqualified because of that. If the African Union decides to, you know, look into that matter and find out that perhaps maybe it's true that some money was offered for this guy to withdraw, then Raila Odinga will quickly be disqualified. Kenya will be disqualified because that is unethical when it comes to these issues. So we don't know. Number one, it could be a strategy, political strategy, to keep that guy busy. Number two, it could be a lie that somebody just came up with. Number three, it could be true. That perhaps maybe he was offered, you know, maybe some major deal, state deal, you know, you never know. Maybe, and it's a strategy too. No, labda mtu amemapproach tu akamwambia bana, si uniachie hii kitu. It's not a crime, anyway. The bribing part is the crime. But if somebody approaches you, you are my opponent, and I approach you and tell you, bana, niachie hii kitu. Niachie hii kitu. And then you say, yes, I'm going to. Like the other ones who just decided to withdraw and support Raila Odinga. Yeah. They can just decide, you know, now it's part of campaigning.
You can use any method to win.
Lakini don't bribe. So I don't know if it's true. The guy was actually given 6 billion shillings. I don't know how true that is. But if it's true, that's a crime. If found guilty, then the whole Raila AUC bid will be disqualified, to be gone. And so we don't know. And he has come out to say he's not withdrawing, so we don't know how true he is. Na akiwithdraw na amesema hawezi withdraw, hapo sasa. But in Kenya, Kenya ilishinda Hague. Kenya tumeongoza US. Mjaluo ameongoza US. Kenya tumeongoza UK. Hii ni Kenya, my friend. Hii ni Kenya.
Given that the AU Commission election often involves regional bloc support, what does Djibouti's continued participation suggest about their confidence in their backing, and how might these affect the calculations and strategies of other candidates such as Raila Amolo Odinga? Because previously there was a survey and they said that there was a poll and they said that the Djibouti candidate has a upper hand given the blocs that support his candidacy.
It's a competitive process, a constitutionally, you know, staged process put together by African states to have a body called the African Union to enable the leaders of that body help with matters of Africa at large, rather than being Kenyan president and then you want to know what is happening in Ghana. You have to deal with, you know, directly with Ghana and stuff. No, you can go through AU. AU can manage these matters. So what happened to President William Ruto with this Traore guy? When there was a coup in Burkina Faso, and Traore had overthrown the government because of you see, those were internal issues. It's now emerging that the guy was right in doing what he was doing. I mean, the country was headed nowhere. The French were milking the country dry. The guys were becoming poor. You see, who was the first person to quickly come out and issue a statement? It's President William Ruto, who came out and you know, say it is, you know, we cannot tolerate this constitutionally nini, akaongea vitu zake hapo. The other day he met with Traore there. I don't know, it was the inauguration of a certain president, African president. The whole of Africa just looks down on our president like it doesn't exist. Even Traore himself never even shook hands with William Ruto. You see the impact of lack of direct involvement through AU. Because if that statement would have come through AU, it would be like all African states are saying this. And so it shields you as one of the African presidents from getting into direct confrontation with another African president. So those are the issues. The other day, there was an altercation between Rwandan presidents, that is Kagame, who abused another president and said, this president is an idiot. You see, those are matters AU is supposed to look into, you know, when African presidents begin to abuse each other like that. You know, he even said another African president never won elections. And he abused, and people had speculations that he was talking about an East African president when he said that president is an idiot and a stooge, a puppet for the West, and something like that. And you see, this is what usually sometimes leads to war because of ego of these presidents. Tunakasirika tu. Idi Amin kwingine alikaa chini hivi na anasema kutokea Malaba hadi Nakuru ni Uganda. He's not lying, but hiyo ilipitwa na wakati. But he said, I'm going to fight for it. Kenyatta must return it. So those are matters AU needs to come in faster so that these states do not, because Kenya starts fighting with Uganda, allies of Kenya will join Kenya, allies of Uganda will join Uganda, and then it becomes a regional war and everything goes down. Everything you worked for years just go down. So AU is supposed to be looking into this. There are issues in Congo. There are issues in Somalia. There are issues in Sudan, South Sudan. South Sudan have even, they have shut down social media for, I don't know, 90 days or 30 days. It's crazy. So look at all these issues. When a country cannot solve its own problems, where do they go? Wanarukishwa the sea, wanakimbizwa Hague. You mean we Africans cannot solve our own problems? We can't solve our problems. Lazima mzungu atusolvie shida zetu. And those are the issues. Now, Africans wana kiburi. African presidents, the first thing anaelektiwa akifika pale ni wizi. Ni wizi. You've seen what Trump has done. He said America first. Hey! Mujikute huku Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, ati mtu anaamka anasema Kenya first, ama sijui Uganda first or something like that. Nonsense. All they know is stealing. Mutaibiwa. Yeah, there's a certain Kalenjin leader or man who said, iligulwa. Yeah? Huku presidents kitu wanajua ni ugula, wanakula na watu yao mbaya sana. They don't care. Look at what happened between America and China over TikTok. You know? Trump comes in and says half of it must be owned by America. So there must be a consortium of companies, or one company has to buy TikTok. And the reason why they banned TikTok is not because of free speech. It is because of the data mining issue, where they fear China might use the data they are getting from the US citizens against US. That is why there was an altercation over that TikTok thing. America just doesn't trust China at all. So they believe e-data, the servers for TikTok must be in United States, on the soil of United States of America, not your soul. The IP, public IP has to come from the United States, so that they can monitor, kuhakikisha kwamba hiyo data haijachukuliwa na China, alafu China na ujanja yao waitumie, weaponize against US. That is the reason. That is why there was an issue with TikTok. But look at Kenya. issue with social media is because sijui nani alipost cartoon, sijui nani amesema nini, so tuna shut down social media because so and so alisema mkubwa fulani si mzuri, mmesema nimeiba, social media nazima. That is, I mean, those are our African leaders. Those are our African leaders. Clueless, confused. They can never come out to say Ghana first, or say Uganda first, or say Kenya first, or say Tanzania first. Yeah?
It's them first.
It's them first. Tumbo first. Their allies first. Billions first. You know? Na mkipiga kelele, mnapigwa. Hiyo ndio shida. So, AU should be addressing these issues. But we all know AU is a Elders Council.
Yeah, Africa.
Yeah, Africa. Hawana meno. Sasa mnasema AU. 95% ya funding ya AU ni mzungu ndiye anatoa. African states wenyewe hata kutoa shilingi moja kusupport AU hawawezi.
As we wind up this discussion, from a strategic perspective, what specific actions or alliances might Raila Odinga need to prioritize now, given Djibouti's decision to remain in the race and the potential for a more fragmented vote among candidates from East Africa? We understand that Djibouti and Kenya are both in East Africa.
Raila Odinga has high chances of winning this thing.
Yeah.
The chances are high. Of course, we know that the deputy or the vice chair will be coming from the Muslim community. And so there are high chances that you can't have the chair again coming from the Muslim community. So it only remains that Raila Odinga is the best suited candidate, but that depends on the votes. But that is one factor. Number two, Raila Odinga has a track record of Pan-Africanism, you know, unlike other people who say they are Pan-Africanists, but they are not. But Raila Odinga has showed it. I mean, Raila Odinga has been there, done that, fought. We have the 2010 Constitution. He was among the top fathers of the Constitution 2010. Raila Odinga has fought, and he was a AU representative for something.
And was it for infrastructure?
Yeah, infrastructure, something like that. So Raila Odinga has done regional or African regional work for quite some time. Another thing is that Raila Odinga has a network of associations and friends and leadership networks across Africa, not just Kenya, and even internationally. He's acknowledged and renowned for his involvement in matters leadership and governance. And so these factors qualify Raila Odinga to become the AU chairperson. It is unfortunate that local politics is finding its way into his bid. But the fact of the matter is that Raila is overqualified for this position. And it's our prayer that he wins. But again, when you factor in the local politics, we have a good number of Kenyans who are writing letters to presidents, writing emails to presidents and saying, don't vote for Raila Odinga. So many presidents African presidents have received so many emails from Kenyans saying that musijaribu kupigia Raila Odinga kura. Huyo mtu mukimpigia kura mutaona moto. They have discredited him. And it all comes because of the alliance he formed with President William Ruto. But is that good enough to, say that Raila Odinga is not qualified to become the AU chair? No, it's not. You cannot, one mistake cannot erode all the good that Raila Odinga has done in this country. I do have a lot of respect for Raila Odinga because of the democratic space that he has fought for this country. And I understand him when he finds himself in the quagmire where he has to, be with the government and at the same time champion reforms as his party stands for. And so he has tried to balance the two. One, not to, castigate the government to a level where he's just seen as an opposition leader, but at the same time, not to abandon his people. And so he has tried. Nobody knows what would have happened in June 25th, 2024, after the Gen Z protests. It was so bad that the president had even asked for the army to come out of their barracks and take charge of the country. And they positioned them in various places. We saw the army on the streets. That when a country reaches that position, just know one thing: it's imminent that perhaps maybe the civilian leadership is about to end, and the army will take over. And so I want to believe Raila Odinga's joining hands with William Ruto to form the broad-based government was to save the civilian leadership. That is the constitutionally elected government from, failing, and then we end up with the army taking over the country. And I think that was a good thing. Personally, I have people shout and say we want the army should take over the army. These guys don't know what they are talking about. Ana hujui kitu unaongelea wewe. Hujui kitu unaongelea. Unasema tu army take over. No, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. And so it is hard to explain this and everybody gets it. But because you understand how people really want Ruto to go home. But that can be done in 2027. And I think Raila Odinga saw, as a father maybe, or a grandfather, saw the danger. Because there was nobody who was going to gain. Nobody. Not even Raila, not even Ruto, not even us. By, the country disintegrating. And perhaps maybe he thought, instead of bloodshed and, state of emergency and, everything coming to a standstill, why can't we just include everyone, form a broad-based government, and let's see if we can survive until 2027. Then Kenyans can decide whether they want to keep this government or, do away with this government. I think history might vindicate him on that matter. So it is not a powerful basis to say Raila should not become the AUC. I think we should allow Raila Odinga to become the chair. And let's see what Kenya can do. Let's see what Raila can do. Raila is maybe the best president Kenya never had. Let's see what he can do for Africa. Yeah. And then siasa ya local tutamenyana tu, sini wa Kenya. Moi came and left. Kibaki came and left. Kenyatta was here and left. Uhuru came and left. Ruto will be here. He will leave. Kenya itakuwa tu. So people should not be so afraid of Raila Odinga or embracing this kind of mentality. Umetufanyia hivi, sisi tutakufanyia hivi. Sometimes you just sit back and say, perhaps maybe we don't understand why he did what he did, but let's give him benefit of doubt. So I think Raila Odinga has enough strategies. He has worked, he has campaigned. In fact, there was one leader, I think it's PLO, Lumumba, who said he doesn't support Raila Odinga's bid because he has never seen AUC electoral campaigns being done the way Raila is doing. Going around and talking to all presidents and enticing them and asking them to vote for him. He has never seen anything like that. He expected something different where just presidents would just come, sit and choose who's going to be the chair and not this kind of campaign. So he didn't like it. But this is Kenya. This is how we do our stuff. And it's not a crime for Raila Odinga to do that. So I think Raila Odinga stands a higher chance of winning this thing. But we all know, let's not forget, there's something about Raila Odinga. There's one negative thing about Raila Odinga, and I'm praying this time it doesn't happen. Raila Odinga upoteza vitu kwa mlango. Raila Odinga works well, campaigns well, goes through the process well, lakini hapo kwa mlango hapo wakati tu the gift is here, Raila stretches his hand to take it, that's when it is taken away. So that thing, I think Raila Odinga should deal with it. Issue ya Raila si kwamba he is a bad person or he doesn't campaign or he doesn't do things right. Vitu upotelea tu hapo kwa mlango. I don't know whether it is spiritual, I don't know whether it's physical, I don't know whether it's by design. I don't understand. Raila Odinga loses things, opportunities right at the door. Hapo ndio mtungi upasuliwa. Hapo. And I'm talking, a good example is 2007. Hey, kitu ilienda. Tarakanisi. Hiyo kitu last minute. And that's dangerous. That's how Raila Odinga has been losing stuff. And there is a pattern to back this up. A pattern. When you notice a pattern in your life, deal with it. Deal with the pattern. It proves that there is an altar just working against you. And Raila Odinga should deal with that. AU ameenda vizuri sana. Hata penye amefika huyu mtu wa Djibouti hawezi mtoa. Hata kura ikipigwa hawezi toa Raila. But you will be shocked. You'll be shocked, kura inapigwa inahesabiwa hivyo. Unasikia mtu ya Djibouti ameshinda. You're like, wait a minute, what happened? Last minute. Raila upoteza vitu last minute. And if Raila Odinga can hear this and his allies perhaps maybe deal with that altar. Kuna altar huwa inangoja Raila Odinga kwa mlango. He should deal with that thing. So that this time
it doesn't happen.
He's the president of Africa.
Well, the message is home. We hope that will be dealt with. Thank you so much for sticking around. You're watching PLG Politics, Leadership and Governance. My guest was Bushabe Jr. talking about the politics, leadership and governance of the country. We've come to the end of our today's discussion. Bye-bye for now.